Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Kimberly Rodriguez, and I am your moderator this evening. This is the annual Meet the Candidate Forum sponsored by the Legislative Committee of the Waynesville Community Teachers Association. On behalf of the Waynesville CTA, I would like to welcome everyone present and in our viewing audience. It is our privilege to have in attendance members of our Board of Education, Mr. Dan Deering, and our Superintendent, Dr. Brian Henry. We want to extend our thanks to our high school principal, Mrs. Courtney Long, high school librarian, Ms. Clarissa Guffey, and Mr. Tim Wallace, our video production instructor, for their help in making this evening a success. Let's give everyone a warm welcome. Election Day is Tuesday, April 3rd, and tonight we have 5 candidates running for 2 positions open on our school board. Mr. Paul D. Schultz III, Mr. Andy Anderson, Mr. Christopher Kramer, Mr. Alberto Reyes, and Mrs. Janet Kreider. Each candidate will be given 3 minutes to give a biography and synopsis of why they are seeking election to our Board of Education. Following their opening statements, they will be asked to answer 2 questions and a closing thought. Candidates, good luck. Mr. Schultz, please give a biography and summary of why you are seeking election to our Board of Education.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks to the CTA for having us. Thanks for everybody here tonight watching, everybody at home, and also a little shout out to Tim Wallace and the TigerTV crew. They do exceptional things. They do these city hall meetings, sporting events, and they do great work. My name is Paul Schultz II. I'm lifetime resident. I say lifetime. 99.9% of my lifetime has been in Waynesville, Missouri. I went to kindergarten here, and I went all through and graduated. After that, I went to Central Missouri State University, where I studied ag business. And at that point, I left there and went to Walmart, where I was a division manager, and had to come home. Couldn't take being away from Waynesville. So I got lucky, and I got to marry a woman I met in high school in front of the gymnasium doors. And we've raised our family here. We have my daughter Bailey, which is at track meet right now and just cleared her personal best. Yay. And then we have our son Colton, which is in the middle school.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Mr. Anderson?
Hi, I'm Andy Anderson. I would like to thank the audience, of course, that is present, and those watching on Channel 12, and of course, Mr. Wallace and everybody. I'd like to thank the patrons who have supported me over the years. I'm running for school board, and while I've been, serving on the board. I'm a 1980 graduate. Basically, this May will be 38 years ago. I know I don't look that old, thank you. But when I graduated, I joined the military, and when I did, I was a combat medic and a flight medic and everything. I served in Desert Seal, Desert Storm, and other campaigns. After leaving the Army, I came back to Waynesville, where I did marry my wife, which I met as we both were DOD kids, so we met on Cable Street, which is no more on Fort Wood, but the sign's still there. I was a custodian for the school district for about 10 years, and for about the last 18 years, I've been delivering mail on Fort Leonard Wood. I am a member of the DAV Chapter 49. I'm active in the church. I am a deacon. Of course, Sunday school. I've done Kiwanis, youth for football, soccer. I was a bad basketball coach, but they needed one, so I volunteered, and we didn't do too well, but hey, they needed a coach. My wife and I will be married for 32 years come this November. We were blessed with 2 wonderful children. Andrew and Anna both graduated from Waynesville, started in Pace through the 12th grade. My son Andrew is a teacher, middle school teacher at Crocker. He's also the youth pastor at Berean Baptist Church. My daughter Anna recently graduated from S&T and also has a degree in education, and of course is looking for a job. She's subbing now for PenMac. And I just believe serving the community and serving kids.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Kramer?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris Kramer, and I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Thank the district, thank the board for this great opportunity. It is a privilege to speak with y'all tonight. I do want to thank the other candidates, the board members, and frankly, everybody who is here and who is not here, who volunteers their time, their money, their resources to help improve our schools in our community. Those are civic virtues which are very, very core to the health and strength of a community. So thank you all very much. A little bit about me. I'm a husband and father of 3 wonderful kids. 2 are currently in Waynesville High School. One recently graduated going to college in Missouri. 2 of my kids attended Waynesville School since kindergarten, And by May of 2019, next year, my kids will have spent 29 years in Waynesville School District. So quite a lot of person years, if you will. I've been an area resident in and out of the military for the last 18 years, I should say, broken up by deployments, over assignments and so forth due to a 23-year military career, which I completed in 2013. And that career, a 23-year record of proven experience, skills, training, and education in areas such as leading, managing, and developing large, complex organizations and groups of people. Critical thinking, which I think is an incredibly important skill that every person should have. Problem identification, problem solving, then action planning, action execution. And relevant to education, I was a very successful instructor at the engineer school back in the early 2000s, and then 10 years later, as my terminal assignment in the Army, I was basically the dean of education, or one of the deans at the Army Engineer School. So I've got, from the instructor perspective as well as the leadership and managerial perspective, training and training development skills. After I retired a few years ago, I became a contractor on Fort Leonard Wood, and I also assumed a team leader position within that company. And then recently, back in July of 2017, I became a DA civilian. That's what I do today. Why I'm running? So it's quite simple. As a nation, and I think this is no secret, we are failing to properly prepare our children in terms of leadership, education, and training, while the rest of the world is surpassing us in competitiveness, education, and technology. I have a piece of paper here that shows exactly what those numbers are. The U.S. is currently at or below global achievement averages in math, science, and reading. And in math, it's not even close. While we as a nation continue to cut education and lower standards, the rest of the world is leaving us behind. Also, I want to help the next generation of Americans, of American citizens, our community, be better prepared for life outside the classroom. Life is changing very quickly. From technology to information, it's changing very quickly. Our kids are going to get left behind if we don't get up to speed. So having life goals, goals in life, skills in life, we have to help our students manage and balance their lives and responsibilities. They need to start early. Grade school is not too early. The school district can massively impact this, and we need to think critically, and the time to start is now, and I want to do my part for that. Real briefly, I'll close with what I'm going to work on. In order, accountability in all things, transparency and accountability, setting and enforcing standards, maximizing educator quality and training, setting the best conditions for student achievement, a safe, productive, and completely inclusive school environment, inspiring students to be successful, teaching those life skills outside the classroom, and finally communication among school, students, and families. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Mr. Reyes?
Good evening. My name is Alberto Reyes. I've been in the Fort Leonard Wood area about 27 years. Fort Leonard Wood, Waynesville, and St. Robert changed my life because my basic training was here in 1994. So since then, I've been in and out in the community, PCSing, coming back, working here as a permanent duty station, and I retired in Fort Bliss, Texas. The reason that I come back to Waynesville is because my 3 boys, one already finished high school and is currently attending KU in Kansas, and I still got 2 kids here in high school. They made me come back to Waynesville because it is a great school district, which I'm glad that I listened to them, pack the house, come back to Waynesville, and they happy here, no question asked. I really appreciate the board members and candidates for the time and service. Your dedication is actually really good. The school district is a good place to be. The reason that I'm running for the board is because I've been told that because I'm not from here, I never win. And that's in multiple places here in Waynesville in the city. Oh, you never win that because you didn't go to high school in Waynesville, you didn't grow up here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I love challenges. I used to be employed by the school district, and I know the problems, and I know the strengths and problems that we have here. So I also used to be an instructor in Fort Leonard Wood. I used to be a drill sergeant. You know, I prepare myself to compete. I went to college, finished my college degree, and I do believe that by listening to my kids and witness most of the problems firsthand, because I used to work in the school district, I'm gonna help the kids. I will instill winning mentality, because my main problem is that we are a rich school district with a small town mentality. You know, we cannot compete to Kickapoo, we cannot compete to any Kansas area school or St. Louis because we mentally losing before we even start. So I would love to change that. And I will put every energy that I have in my body to make sure that the kids are provided with the best and quality education possible.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Mrs. Kreider?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Janet Kreider. To everyone that's here tonight, thank you for coming. To those of you that are home watching us either on Tiger TV or Facebook Live, thank you for joining us as well. In addition, thank you to the CTA for hosting us tonight. A little bit about me. I'm a proud Army wife, an Army mom, and a veteran of the Army National Guard. My family and I have chosen Waynesville to make our home for the last 12 years since my husband Joe's retirement from active duty. We have one child. Samuel is a 2013 graduate of Waynesville High School and currently serves as a U.S. Army Military Police Second Lieutenant and stationed at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. Joe's a retired Army infantryman and continues his service as a Department of the Army civilian. I'm currently an instructor for the Department of Labor. I facilitate a workshop at the Soldier for Life Transition Assistance Program Office, teaching transitioning service members skills necessary to prepare for separation from military service, including resume writing, networking, and interviewing skills. Since moving to Waynesville in 2006, I've been involved in the school district in several capacities. I believed in being an integral part of our son's education. I volunteered to tutor students and supported teachers as needed. I participated and served on the board of the Tiger Athletic Booster Club for 5 years, and for the last 6 years I've been a volunteer and supporter of the Snack and a Pack program that sends food home with more than 300 of our Waynesville Tigers. I also serve on the board of the Habitat for Humanity of Pulaski County, where we currently have a house under construction for a family that was displaced last August when Hurricane Harvey hit Houston, Texas. Additionally, I serve as the chairwoman of the City of Waynesville Planning and Zoning Commission, where I've been a member since 2015. The school district has had a very positive impact on our family, and I would value the opportunity to share my experiences and perspective as a member of the Board of Education on behalf of our community. I believe that together we can work to ensure that our school district continues to achieve the success that we are known for around the state, the region, and recently nationally.
Thank you, Mrs. Kreider.
Thank you.
We will now move on to our first question. Mr. Anderson, what are the top 3 things which impact student achievement?
Well, I believe that the safety and security, of course, they both go together. A learning environment, the facilities, I mean, you got to have great facilities, you know, for education. And of course, the staff. And with staff, you also have to look at salary and benefits, because I think that that's the main topics that education, I mean, that's what you have to have. Good people.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Kramer.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. So I assume you're referring not just to grades and test scores, but to the total package of achievement, which includes achievements in extracurricular activities, critical thinking ability, physical fitness, volunteering, leadership, how to manage interpersonal relations, stress, how to handle social media, a rapidly changing world, things of that nature. Now, those good grades and test scores are important, particularly for folks who are going to go to college, but the young people coming out of our district need to be well-rounded and achieve more than just academically. So those top 3 impacts, I believe, are mindset, preparation, and the learning environment. Now, the student's mindset is the #1 factor in achievement. All the ability in the world doesn't mean anything if the person's mind isn't in the right place. The person has to be focused on the right things. Having a positive attitude, motivation, a desire to succeed, strong self-esteem, resiliency, being goal-oriented, and thinking logically and critically underpin all this and are extremely important. Second is their preparation. And this is much more than just the actual studying and practicing. It includes knowing how to study, how to manage time, how to balance schoolwork with extracurriculars and other activities, no matter what grade or what level you're in, how to set short and long-term goals, and how to develop a plan to achieve them. And this has to start early, from the grade school all the way through the graduation. And finally, the learning environment. Educators, families, and students all have a role in this. All students need a safe, positive, and supportive environment at school and at home, and have to have access to the resources they need. I believe there needs to be clear and consistent communication among students, families, and all educators, that's teachers, coaches, administration, everybody, in order to have a common understanding of our standards and expectations. So, ma'am, just to recap, mindset, preparation, and the environment for learning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Mr. Reyes?
Yeah, I believe this is a two-phase question. I think students facing poverty, family stress, learning disabilities, or psychological problems could be and it could impact them to achieve and as a student. The second phase will be a large class size, safety. You know, a few years ago it'd be crazy to be talking about safety, but nowadays we know what's happening across America. So safety should be a priority in any school district across the United States, because we cannot be the ones saying that never nothing is going to happen here. Next thing we know is knocking the door here, so we need to be prepared. Poor teacher preparation, if the teacher is not prepared to come up and perform to high levels, it's going to impact student achievement. Tools and equipment, you know, we need to provide the kids the best possible tools and equipment for them to succeed. And last but not least, family support. It's very important, the family support to the students and family participation with the students for activities here in the school.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Mrs. Kreider?
Yes. There is no higher priority than student achievement and the continued improvement of such. The top three things that I feel impact student achievement are high-performing teachers in the classroom that provide quality instruction and their ongoing professional development to support continued improvement. Positive leadership with high expectations for learning, and a quality curriculum with rigorous course offerings that prepare all students for their careers, be it college, military, or vocational occupations. You need to cover all three of those. Missouri performance standards established by the State Board of Education are designed to ensure that our students acquire the knowledge and skills to gather, analyze, and apply information and ideas, skills to communicate effectively, skills to recognize and solve problems, and skills to make decisions and act as responsible members of society. I believe that our district's curriculum must continue to challenge each student and help every student achieve the appropriate standards to their greatest potential. I am confident that our teachers across our district do a great job ensuring that our curriculum is implemented in the classroom in such a manner that all students are learning all the time.
Thank you, Mrs. Kreider.
Thank you.
Mr. Schultz?
Yeah, I would like to say, first of all, that this current board has made a dedication to 75% of all of our meetings to be over student achievement. We decided that a while back, and we've stuck with that. The three things I really look at here is hiring, not only hiring, but also retaining quality teachers and providing them a safe learning environment. Number two is extracurricular activities, from band to athletics. It's just the more they're involved, the better they do, and I'll get into that here in a little bit. But third, and probably one of the most important things, you hear a lot, it takes a community. We can have the greatest schools, we can have the best teachers, but we have got to forge and continue those partnerships with our parents, grandparents, and guardians, along with the community. And I'll get into that on the second part of the question as well, but those are probably the three things.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Our second and final question. Mr. Kramer, how can you, as a board member, influence or support those three things to impact student achievement?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. And kind of as I alluded earlier, this is a shared effort with three different stakeholder populations: the student, the educators, and the families. These students, some of them face very significant stressors outside the classroom, and we need to be cognizant of those. And what I personally can help with is, in general, with board and district business practices and outcomes. I've got almost 30 years of experience, military and civilian, in everything that I talked about before, plus instruction and instructional methods. I've got exposure to people and perspectives of many cultures and nations due to travels with the United States Army, and also an expectation for people to do the right things and to do them well. For mindset in particular, it does start with expectations for students. You have to set those expectations, and with the families, educators, and in fact the board itself has to be on the same sheet of music. The board can guide or assist administration in assessing that student mindset and ensuring we're helping those students learn those skills and information, as I talked about earlier. The importance of positive attitude, helping students discover their internal motivations, helping them identify their individual strengths and therefore increase self-esteem, how to be resilient and then how to think critically and logically. That underpins everything we do. So I personally have had training and experience in all these areas. I've applied those in my previous jobs, in the job I have now as well. So I have many, many years of experience, and I can translate that to the board without much problem. In terms of preparation, this is almost always a function of the student's mindset. If you have a lack of motivation, and those other factors that I talked about earlier, that almost always leads directly to a lack of preparation. And lack of preparation, as you well know, leads usually to low achievement. So it's sort of a cascading sequence, which we have to fix at each stage to be successful. Students have to learn those skills and information to be successful. I know how to run development programs, personal growth programs, and how to help people understand what it takes for them to be successful. My contribution will be to help the district tailor its operations, its programs, and its extracurriculars to train and educate students in all these skills and to offer them to families as much as possible, again, as one of the stakeholders. Example, if a student leaves middle school without at least a general plan and goals for high school and beyond, we have failed. If a student hasn't figured out at least a fairly refined 5-year plan by the end of their sophomore or junior year in high school, we have failed. That has to fix itself through beginning at the very beginning of grade school all the way through high school. And finally, environment. We have to ensure that the students have the resources they need, and potentially families as well. We have to have the right people on the team, all the administrators, coaches, teachers, and staff. I will help rigorously screen applicants to get the right people on board. I will help ensure that the folks who are on board are trained. You can't do your job unless you're well trained, and there has to be a systemic, successive, sequential progressive training. I just want to make a quick note. The English writer W. Somerset Maugham said once, "It's a funny thing about life. If you refuse to accept anything but the best, you very often get it." And I could not agree more, and I fully intend to, as a board member, inculcate this in everything we do as a board. Not saying we don't now, but I think I can bring that to the board, and my time is up. Ma'am, thank you much.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Mr. Reyes.
Yes, I think one of my main concerns is that programs in the school, in the high school, they are not equally funded. So by listening to my kids complaining in the house, just for example about marching band, that we're missing this and we don't have this equipment, I just deeply believe that the programs in the high school, they're not equally funded. So I will do my best, if I become a board member, to make sure that every single program in the high school gets equal funding. I'm not sure if we have a professional mental health provider here in the high school, counselor, because safety is a priority. And some people don't like to talk about weapons or guns, but usually it's a mental health problem or issues that students are having and just conducting all these shootings across the nation. So I would like to actually, work hard in the mental health issues of the students. Poverty. I believe we have too many fees for the students. As a regular father and family member, I'm constantly dealing with 150 for this, 200 for this, 450, too many fees for the students. So if a family that can afford to participate, the kids participate in these events, they automatically, they impacting the achievement. So I would like to, make a research what's going on here in the school district and try to help those with less capability and capabilities and try to help more.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Mrs. Kreider?
Yes. So how are we as board members going to support the three things that we believe affect student achievement? So it is a collective responsibility of the Board of Education to make sure that student achievement remains the primary focus of the district. The Board of Education fulfills this responsibility by establishing the vision for the district, promoting student achievement, continually monitoring academic progress without micromanaging our administration, our teachers, and our staff. It is the role of the school board to establish policy, exercise leadership while maintaining community relationships, and ensuring accountability. In my opinion, accountability includes student learning, resource management, and the professional development of our staff.
Thank you, Mrs. Kreider.
Thank you.
Mr. Schultz?
Yeah, the three things here. Number one, hiring and retaining quality teachers. We have the best. There's no doubt in my mind. My children every year talk about failing on purpose so they can have that teacher again. So I know we have the best. we've got to retain, and we need to have a culture and a climate that everybody feels comfortable in. On the safety, 3 years ago, I told you guys we were going to work hard to get an SRO officer. We've added one. We've continued to do these things, and this board has pushed to add the curriculum to make it more challenging for our kids. On the number 2 was programs and curriculum. I've read statistics, and one that really stuck out from the National Center of Education Statistics was that kids that are involved, whether it is band, athletics, FFA, that are involved in a club have a 65% chance of doing better than a child that does not. And a child that is involved in multiple, it goes up to 75% better of a chance. So we need to really push our programs from FFA, what they're doing right here, and because not everybody was an expert linebacker like I was. So, you know, and I excelled at the chess team as well here. But we really need to push the programs, get them in the middle school where they're starting, and then even push a few things down the elementary level just to get it going. Number 3, and it's very important, is the parent partnerships. We've got to probably do a little better job. Our teachers are here every night. AA. They put in the extra time. And sometimes I don't know that we communicate that enough, where our parents at home don't understand that we have all these programs to help their children be successful. And also with the community programs, we send a group to the St. Robert Chamber of Commerce. They do great things there. Last night, Papa Murphy's had our John Dye's class there on jobs shadowing. So those 3 things I think is what we need to do.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Mr. Anderson?
Yes, the first one I talked about school safety and security. You know, how as a board members can we support and influence? Well, I think though that actually we have. I mean, we, in reality, if you go back and look, we were the only school district for years that actually had an SRO. And we were the first one, actually, in the Frisco League, probably in 30 to 50 mile radius. We've had an SRO, we've installed cameras, we have cameras on our buses. I mean, we have been proactive for as long as I've been on the board, and actually a little before that. So security, and of course, you know, for me, security is the number one, that should be the number one priority. Because when students and teachers come to a building and they want to learn, and they're here to learn, and the teachers are here to do their job, they have to feel safe. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're at home or where you're at, you have to feel safe so that you don't have that distraction, so you can actually concentrate to do what you need to do. Teachers are here to teach. They don't need to be worrying about, do they need to check the door or hit a blind or pull this or do that. They're there to teach. And so as board members and administration, it's our job to do whatever it takes to make our students and staff feel safe in this environment. Whatever it takes, we need to do it. Of course, we talk about hiring more SROs. I think we should have one. Dr. Henry's going to shoot me, but I think we should have one. It's probably not a good word. At all of our buildings. I mean, in reality, we should have whatever it takes, you know, to make sure that our students do feel safe, and that when parents drop their kids off, they know that the building's safe. Someone's going to take care of Jimmy or Johnny. I don't have to worry about them. I can go off and do what I need to, and when school's out, my child's safe. So whatever it takes, I think we should do it. As far as the learning environment and facilities, I've been on the board for a while, and actually I've probably been in all of the building projects that we've done over the last 10 years or so, and we've basically made a circle where now we're finally doing a middle school. 20 years later, but we're doing a middle school, and we are making good facilities. We are upgrading everything we can, computer labs. We're doing the best we can do with what we have. You know, and as far as staff, I've always been, we need to hire the best people. I mean, whoever's qualified, I really don't care, green, purple, yellow, white, black. I just want the best people for our kids, give them a good salary, give them a good bonus, give them whatever we need to get people in here, because kids are the future. I mean, they are our future, and as adults, it's our responsibility to take care of our kids. It's our duty, obligation, whatever you want to call it. The kids are the future, and so I think, you know, we should have the best staff, and we should do whatever it takes.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Ladies and gentlemen, as a closing thought, Please tell our audience why you chose to run for our school board and what are some qualities you possess that make you qualified to serve. Mr. Reyes?
Yes. To the people of Waynesville and St. Robert, I guarantee you that I will use all my knowledge to help the kids. The kids are very important. It's the future of the country, future of the nation, and we should just do absolutely everything possible in our power to help the kids. I will be your voice. Through the years, I hear so many people complaining about this and that, but I don't see nobody. Like today, we got 2 people that is already in the members and 3 candidates. Here it should be 45 candidates, not just 3, because the kids are important. And hopefully, as they see me today competing, I hope the people of Waynesville and St. Robert actually stand up and come up, and we all can do this to improve the future of the kids. So hopefully I get elected, and I promise to everyone that I will do my best to support the kids.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Mrs. Kreider?
Thank you. In closing, I look forward to the opportunity to serve the district and our community as a Waynesville R6 Board of Education member. Joe and I are proud to have had Sam graduate from Waynesville High School. No matter the outcome of this election, I would like to thank all of the people that make this school district an outstanding and desired school district. Each individual employed by this district, whether it's teachers, administrators, counselors, coaches, librarians, secretaries, nurses, custodians, food service staff members, maintenance staff, transportation staff, and paraprofessionals as well. They all have an impact on our children. Thank you for your continued dedication. Thank you, TigerTV, for bringing this production to our community tonight. I bring a unique and balanced qualification as an Army wife, a mom, and veteran to the school board. I believe my classroom experience, my military experience, my parent experience, and my community experience will contribute invaluably to the continued success of our district. Thank you all again for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. On Tuesday, April the 3rd, you will have an opportunity to cast 2 votes. My name is listed last on the ballot, and I would appreciate your vote to become the newest member of the Waynesville R6 Board of Education.
Thank you, Mrs. Kreider.
Thank you.
Mr. Schultz?
Yeah, I'd like to thank CTA for having us again. Thanks to everybody here tonight and at home watching at TV. And thank you, Andy, for your service and for the 3 of you to step up.
Thank you.
3 years ago, I told you I would be a board member you wouldn't hear from once every 3 years. I think I've done that. I've had conversations in the produce department at Walmart that have lasted hours. I have had conversations with parents at Price Cutter that have lasted hours. I was fishing in the Ruby-Doo and had somebody talk to me while we were fishing. But I enjoy every minute of it. I come in here, I really wanted a swim team. I was told it would never happen. Next year we will have a team. I was told that we will probably won't ever get another SRO officer. We have got another SRO officer. People say, why do you do it? And they think, well, they just show up one night a week, one night a month. And I tell them, I said, no, it's a full-time job. And I tell them about the hours. And they say, well, you don't get paid. And I said, well, that's not true either. A lot of people don't know we get paid 2 times a year. And January is Board Appreciation Month. And principals bring in cards, boxes of cards from elementary students all over. And I read every single one of them. And I'll sit there with my wife and we laugh about it. And I'll call Melissa or whoever sent it. And I'll tell them, all right, yep, I do have a cat. And it's mean, yes. And then I enjoy representing the finest people in the area. At graduation, that's our second payday is graduation, by the way. These kids come up there, tears in their eyes, smiling. And then I look out, because me and Andy get sit in a unique position. And I see Mary Ann Ward sitting there just cheering away for these kids. She doesn't even have a kid up there. I see Kim Amodio and David Griffin. They're bringing kids that the world has thrown away. But they stand behind them. And the tears are there for them as well. I ask you for 3 more years. I ask you for 6 more paychecks. My name is Paul Schultz. On April 3rd, I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Mr. Anderson?
In conclusion, of course, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. I mean, I do thank y'all for running for the board. I mean, I take it seriously, and I have, like I said, the first time I signed up was 18 years ago. And actually, I ran 7 times and lost every time, and on the 8th time, I actually won. So I've been doing this for a while, and I do have, of course, experience, as far as military. Like I said, I was a DOD kid, so I know what it is to be bounced around military families. I know. I served in the military, so I know the military side of it. I've been in the community now for almost 32 years. I work for the school district. I know the people. I know the kids. I work in all of the different things kids need. I do, from at church to the community, whatever. I do support Snack in the Pack. That is a wonderful program. I'm glad that we started it, because there are a lot of kids in our community who do go home hungry. And it is sad that in the United States today that actually happens, and it shouldn't happen, especially in our community. It shouldn't happen at all. And so I do know, on the school board, when I first got on, I thought I was going to change the world, but that's not how the board works. So we have a great superintendent, and actually the school board, he's our only employer, because he's the only one that we truly evaluate. And the other ones, we are in charge of them, but actually it's the superintendent and it's their job. And I found out early on that we don't micromanage. That's why we have people, we have administrators that are trained, they have the degrees, that's their job. That's why they get paid the big money. And so that's their job to do it, and they're doing a wonderful job at it. Our school district is, we're exceeding federal levels, state levels. Our school district is doing good. There's always room for improvement, always. And we should always be long life learners. Every time something comes up, everything should be tweaked, and anything we can make better, we should. And with that, I'll say that yes, I've served for a few years. This, I think, will be my 4th term. But just as I started 18 years ago, my focus is still kids first. And you have to take care of the staff, which take care of the kids. And they will tell you that I do bring things up, and I do, but hey, whatever's best for the kids, that's the bottom line. That's what we need to focus on. It's not about me. I don't give about me. It's all about the kids, and whatever we can do for the kids, that's what we need to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Kramer?
Yes, thank you, ma'am. And I would also like to thank everyone, number one, who's here tonight. Again, the candidates, thank you all so much for what you have done, and sir, for what you've done the last few terms as a board member. Again, I'd like to thank everyone who's come out tonight, who's viewing this via whatever means you're looking at it on, and anyone who's volunteered at any time in the community. As I said in my opening remarks and comments, and somebody actually up here said the same thing, this is not a one-person community. Everyone who's a part of the community is a part of the community, and everyone who participates in the improvement and betterment of that community, whether it be the school board or another means of volunteering, thank you no matter what you are doing, and thank you for what you do, and I know you'll do it in the future. And thank you again for the opportunity for all of us to sit here tonight and to exchange our views with you and to kind of get to let you know who we are. Why I'm running, I kind of made that pretty plain up front. This is about the student achievement. And I do believe that we working together can make this district better. If we can set the goals that we can achieve that will make us, perhaps either a state or a national example, I think that there's no reason we can't do that. We have plenty of motivated, very smart people, and if we have a goal and we move toward it very aggressively, we can get there. So I believe in achieving as much as we can achieve, that old Army slogan, be all you can be. I think that's where we need to go. What I can personally bring, it is 30 years of achievement, both as an individual performer and as a manager and a leader, and also a follower. You're not always in charge. So when in charge, be in charge and lead, and when you're not in charge and you're not in leading, support the team. So I feel I can support both roles, and the 30 years of experience that I have relate directly to what would be required as a board member. So in kind of a nutshell, that's where it is. And in terms of April 3rd, all I ask is that you cast a ballot with a clean conscience and with confidence. And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. This concludes our Meet the Candidate Forum. We would like to thank our candidates, Mr. Paul Schultz, Mr. Andy Anderson, Mr. Christopher Kramer, Mr. Alberto Reyes, and Mrs. Janet Kreider. Let's give a round of applause to our candidates tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending this evening's event. We also want to thank our television audience for watching Channel 12 and those streaming live on Tiger TV's Facebook page. A special thanks is extended to Mr. Tim Wallace and his TV journalism students, Megan Dribbin, Vanessa Slater, Jonathan Russell, Chase Dunn, and Noah Hicks for broadcasting this evening's Meet the Candidate Forum. This forum will rebroadcast on Channel 12, Friday, March 23rd, Saturday, March 24th, and Sunday, March 25th at 6 p.m. The election will be held on Tuesday, April 3rd. I'm Kimberly Rodriguez, and on behalf of the Community Teachers Association, we want to wish everyone a good evening. Thank you.